$1.79 for we're trying to make some chili. $1.79.
If there was ever one place that made Americans believe there's still hope to make ends meet during inflation, it was Aldi. But now, right in the middle of runaway prices, Aldi, the name once seen as humble, honest, and for the people, has left everyone stunned. 7 essential foods here have quietly doubled in price. Not because the quality improved, not because the recipe changed, but because of the one thing that has Americans furious: tariffs. Instead of shielding shoppers, Aldi chose to hit back by jacking up prices, leaving their own customers to shoulder the blow. If you've ever thought Aldi isn't like the others, this video might make you think twice, and maybe not come back at all. Number 1. Barissimo Coffee. At Aldi, a bag of Barissimo coffee used to be the very definition of real value. No frills, no flashy branding, just an honest cup of coffee to start the day. But since early 2025, the price of a 12 oz bag of Barissimo medium roast has jumped from $3.49 to $6.89 in many states, nearly doubling in just a few months. And what makes shoppers furious isn't just the number on the price tag, it's the quiet question in their minds: if even Aldi, the store that prided itself on undeniably affordable prices, has to hike prices this steeply, then who's left to protect consumers? The reason couldn't be clearer: tariffs. In Q1 of 2025, the Trump administration slapped a 40% tariff on coffee imports from Brazil, a country that supplies more than 25% of all roasted and green coffee coming into the US. Without Brazil, Aldi was forced to turn to Colombia or Ethiopia, where shipping costs are higher, delivery takes longer, and quality is less consistent. Anyone who says coffee is a luxury, not a necessity, has clearly never lived on a fixed retirement check, or counted every penny week after week. For millions of Americans, especially older workers, that morning cup of coffee isn't just a drink. It's one of the last small comforts left in their day. Here's the harsh truth: coffee isn't grown in the US. And when the government taxes the countries that do grow it, Americans can't just plant coffee trees in their backyard to get by. They're left with one choice: pay more or go without. A retiree in Kansas might live simply, but when their familiar bag of coffee doubles in price after just one tax season, that simplicity disappears. It becomes a glaring reminder that the little things that once made life feel steady are being stolen piece by piece. Worse yet, the coffee price spike has triggered a domino effect. Local diners raise menu prices, offices cut back on free coffee, and seniors' coffee mornings have turned into water gatherings. Because there's no longer enough in the budget for a real pot to share, the government calls it a protection strategy. But consumers see only one thing: tariffs aren't protecting farmers. They're stealing the daily ritual of millions of people. And if even Aldi can't keep coffee affordable, then maybe this is the silent declaration that the era of cheap prices is truly over. Quietly, coldly, and without a way back. Number 2. Imported cheese and sausage. Once seen as a little touch of something special in an ordinary meal, Aldi's imported cheeses and sausages, especially the specially selected lines from Italy, France, and Germany, are now at a crossroads that's left many shoppers disappointed. In recent months, the price of those neatly packed trays of imported cheeses has jumped from $4 to $5 to over $8 to $9, with some even topping $10 for the same portion. Italian hard cheeses, salami, or prosciutto, once considered small indulgences, are now unbelievably expensive luxuries at Aldi. The main culprit: new tariffs, some as high as 30 to 50%, slapped on European food imports. When Italian cheese faces an extra 30% tariff and shipping plus paperwork costs pile on, just as much Aldi is forced to adjust prices or compromise on quality. To keep prices from skyrocketing even further, Aldi has quietly swapped in US-made cheese as a substitute. But the packaging and specially selected label remain the same, giving customers the illusion of authentic European, while they're actually getting something different. To the naked eye, it's hard to tell. Only after eating it regularly does the feeling of something's off start to creep in. Imported sausages face the same fate. Labels that once proudly read "from Germany" or "produced in EU" are now replaced with domestic production lines to avoid tariffs. But the bold, herb-rich European flavors that once filled Aldi's shelves have been dulled into something more generic: an American-style sausage laced with artificial flavorings meant to mimic the old taste. Another serious issue: sodium and preservatives. Imported sausages already carried a hefty sodium load, but now, to extend shelf life and cut cost, additives have been layered on even heavier. For consumers over 50 who are watching their blood pressure, that's like a silent time bomb sitting in the fridge. The saddest part, imported cheese used to be the little thing that made a winter meal feel warm, a thin slice of sausage to enjoy with a glass of wine. But when those treats become items you have to second guess, double the price but half the quality, that simple joy disappears. The mood shifts, from satisfaction to disappointment, from trust to doubt. For many older shoppers, cheese and sausage were things to share with friends. Now they're products you scrutinize. Reading labels, checking batch codes, hunting for the origin. Because the brand you once trusted no longer feels like a promise. Tariffs don't just hit the national budget. They creep into kitchens, into grocery baskets, into those small weekend snacking habits. And if even these once bright imports can't hold on to both quality and price, that's the sign ordinary consumers are slowly losing their power to choose. As long as there were affordable imported cheeses and specialty sausages at Aldi, people could still feel a touch of something better in their standard of living. But if those little luxuries can't hold on, then even the smallest belief in comfort, in the idea that the imports we buy can be trusted, starts to crack. Number 3. Chocolate and cocoa. Chocolate used to be that tiny thing that could brighten a whole mood after a long day. A bar to nibble with an afternoon tea, a spoonful of cocoa powder for a warm drink on a rainy morning. It was a small comfort, but one that mattered. But now, under the weight of steep tariffs, even something as simple as Aldi's chocolate can't hold on to its old bargain price. Some imported European chocolates, especially rich dark bars or organic varieties, once sold at Aldi for around $3, the kind you could enjoy without a second thought. Today, they're $5 to $6, nearly double. Cocoa powder, once a pantry staple, is rarely seen under $4 to $5 anymore. This isn't a minor blip. It's the kind of shift that makes shoppers second-guess even a small treat, even those already used to being frugal. The reason import tariffs on goods from the EU as high as 30 to 50%. When chocolate from France, Belgium, or Italy gets slapped with those rates, suppliers can't swallow all the costs. Aldi isn't an exception. They either raise prices or switch to domestically made chocolate. But as anyone knows, cheap domestic chocolate just can't match the flavor of Europe. What many shoppers don't realize is that imported chocolate still carries the same brand names on the wrapper. But the cacao may now come from somewhere else or be blended with more sugar to cut back on real cacao. The result, a thinner taste, less of that true dark bitterness, and none of the rich finish that used to linger when you let each bite melt slowly. Meanwhile, cocoa powder, once seen as a way to add antioxidants and energy to breakfast for many older consumers, is now hit by the same tariffs, driving each tin's price up sharply. When you're forced to choose between an overpriced can of cocoa and a simple cup of tea, many won't stick to the old ritual. If chocolate was part of your daily rhythm, an evening bite, a morning cocoa. You feel it now. It's not just about paying more. It's about watching a familiar comfort slip further out of reach. Because when the good affordable chocolate you trusted is suddenly taxed into luxury territory, the trust and simplicity of that choice start eroding. Bar by bar, packet by packet, imported foods, even something as small as chocolate, carry a quiet power to lift everyday life. When they double in price and lose the very quality that kept you coming back, that trust is chipped away. And if Aldi is no longer the place you can count on for something truly worth your money, then where's the little corner of calm you used to count on? Number 4. Frozen salmon. Frozen salmon used to be the go-to choice for many American families, easy to cook, packed with omega-3s and heart-healthy, especially for older adults. At $7 to $9 per pound, it was a nutritious splurge that felt within reach. But now that price point is teetering on the edge of double, leaving shoppers stunned. Reports and community posts show that frozen salmon prices at Aldi have surged thanks to new import tariffs on supplies from Canada, Chile, Indonesia, and Vietnam, countries that provide most of America's seafood. With tariffs climbing as high as 50%, retail prices have jumped from under $9 to nearly $15 to $18 per pound in just a short span. Faced with that cost surge, Aldi had two options: raise prices or cut quality. In reality, both happened. Shoppers have noticed that salmon trays often come with heavy ice glazing, a sign they've been thawed and refrozen, leaving the fish dry, crumbly, and far from the freshness the packaging promises. Some products still carry the Atlantic salmon label, but with no clear country of origin. As salmon farming in Chile or the US became costlier, sourcing quietly shifted to lower quality or more loosely processed alternatives to save money under mounting tariffs. For many people over 50, salmon isn't just part of a diet. It's part of staying healthy long term. When prices spike, they can't simply drop it from their meals overnight. But one thing is clear: what was once nutritious and easy has turned into a financial headache. A single ordinary pack of salmon now forces a pause: buy it or skip it. The tug of war between price and quality has never been starker. What makes this sting even more: Aldi has always been seen as the chain that stood firm on low prices. But when even salmon, the reliable, good-for-you, affordable protein, can't escape the grip of tariffs and inflation, the question looms: where's the steady, fair-priced option for those on a tight budget? The ripple effect is real. Families are cutting salmon from older relatives' diets, switching to cheaper picks like domestic basa, or dropping imported seafood altogether for lower-cost stand-ins like eggs, local chicken, or potatoes. That doesn't just mean losing a good meal. It means losing the thoughtful, health-forward choice they once trusted Aldi to provide. The government says tariffs protect American farmers, but in reality, imports like salmon have become the clearest targets. Longtime Aldi shoppers now look at those price tags and see the change in every tray. What was once a reasonable buy has turned into an unexplainable luxury. Frozen salmon just isn't the salmon it used to be. When the price doubles and the quality slips, shoppers are left asking, can we ever get back to trusting this as the healthy, affordable staple it once was? If not, then even a familiar tray of fish can leave you with a quiet sense of loss. Not just for the money, but for something that once felt constant suddenly gone. Number 5. Bananas and avocados. If there were ever two things Americans believed would always stay affordable, it was bananas and avocados. Bananas, the cheapest, most universal fruit in every grocery store. Avocados, with all their creamy richness and nutrients. Once seen as a luxury at a budget price for breakfast or a salad. But now, even these symbols of steady cheapness are wobbling under the weight of tariffs and global supply chain costs. At Aldi, shoppers have started to notice bananas that used to cost 25 cents each have crept up to nearly 50 to 60 cents apiece, essentially doubling in just a few months. What was once brushed off as a temporary bump has stuck holding steady as if it's the new normal. Much of the supply from Central America, hit hard by changes in shipping taxes and cold chain storage costs, is the key factor behind the spike. And avocados. Once the quick, healthy go-to, they've become something you think twice about before pulling off the shelf. Avocados from Mexico or California that once sold for 89 cents are now closer to 1.79 each at Aldi, far beyond an ordinary price hike. Grab a small bag of 4 and you're staring at nearly $7, about the cost of a whole lunch for one person. Older shoppers, the ones who long thought of Aldi as the place that kept prices steady, now have to ask, is there anything left that's truly stable? Because if even bananas and avocados can't hold their budget-friendly ground, what's left for those already tightening every corner of their spending? The issue isn't just the price, it's the loss of peace of mind. Shoppers used to trust that Aldi wouldn't play games with unjustified markups. But now, as prices climb with no clear explanation, no sign, no honest reason posted, that trust has started to erode. Higher avocado and banana prices don't mean people stop eating them, but they do force choices. Skip avocado toast, cut back on fruit for the grandkids, or trim something else just to make room for these costs. Aldi used to be the store that helped Americans live. Simply live well, live enough. But when even the most familiar foods become price worries, trust gets tested. And sometimes a single avocado or bunch of bananas sitting on a shelf says more than any headline about just how much pressure this economy is putting on every last shopper. Number 6. Bottled orange juice. No one expected that the morning glass of orange juice, a symbol of health and vitality in America, could turn into a wallet ache in 2025. But at Aldi, miss just a few weeks of grocery runs, and you might get sticker shock in the juice aisle. A bottle of orange juice that used to cost under $2 now hovers around $4, and in some stores even hits $4.59. That's not an easy jump to swallow, especially for those who drink it every morning, or for big families who go through bottles fast. The issue isn't just that prices went up, it's that they spiked suddenly with no warning, no explanation. Just one silent price tag swapped out, as if shoppers were expected to simply understand why everything was more expensive. Some Aldi employees admit that orange juice prices have surged because supply from Florida and Brazil has been battered by extreme weather and new trade barriers, including the fresh tariffs the Trump administration recently slapped on South American imports. On top of that, higher transport taxes on oranges put pressure on retailers like Aldi to cut costs elsewhere. And the easiest solution is either to raise prices or quietly lower quality. Some bottles that once read 100% pure orange juice are now diluted blends, yet the packaging looks almost identical, making it hard for shoppers to notice unless they squint at the fine print on the label. For older shoppers, those who've started their mornings with orange juice for decades, the choice isn't easy: pay nearly double for what they always saw as essential, or switch to cheaper substitutes that won't deliver the same quality. And the frustration isn't just about the cost, it's the creeping sense of betrayal. Aldi, the chain once synonymous with simplicity and thrift, has now quietly embraced the silent price hike game, leaving many customers feeling like they've been played. If even a simple glass of orange juice becomes a morning luxury, what does that say about the future for millions of working-class American families? The question isn't just about the price of one product. It's about the ripple effect of an economy veering off course where tariffs don't just hit corporations, they hit people's breakfast tables. And when even Aldi can't hold its ground as the price-shielding store, what's really left for consumers? Number 7. Italian pasta. It used to be the go-to choice for weeknight family dinners in America: simple, quick, delicious, and cheap. With Aldi's Priano line of pasta, imported from Italy, prices used to hover around $1.50 to $2 for a 16-ounce bag. Shoppers called it their affordable Italian and easy comfort meal in the middle of the week. But today that's all changed. In just the past few months, Aldi rolled out new prices. A 16-ounce bag of Priano now runs $2.80 to $3, and in some places even $3.50. That's nearly double. What stings isn't just the extra cents. It's the gut punch. Something you used to toss into your cart every week is now something you hesitate to grab. The reason is clear: steep new tariffs on EU imports. Italy is the main source of Priano pasta. When tariffs climb 30 to 50%, Aldi has only two paths: raise the price or replace some of the product with domestic sources, and risk losing that unmistakable Italian flavor. And the reality: Aldi kept the box, kept the Priano name. But what's inside isn't 100% Italian anymore. Many bags are now made in the US or elsewhere, blended with domestic pasta, to cut costs, all wrapped in packaging that looks exactly the same. It's a small change, but for older shoppers who notice, it feels like something broke. Because not everyone reads the fine print. It's not just the quality. The nutrition takes a hit too. Authentic Italian pasta is made from good wheat, low in sodium, free from unnecessary additives. Now industrial cheaper pastas get mixed in, often made with refined flour and loaded with stabilizers to hold their shape, leaving you with noodles that go mushy, taste flat, and don't have the bright look of the old Priano. The family dinner table used to be a moment of connection, steam rising off boiling water, garlic, scenting the kitchen, a bowl of pasta with a simple side salad. Now it's a price calculation: cook enough or cut back. That once automatic midweek meal is now a budget question, because even a single bag a week can eat into savings for retirees. And here's the painful truth: tariffs were sold to the public as protecting domestic industry. But what consumers got instead? Paying double for something cheaper in quality, or unknowingly buying a product that isn't what it used to be. At a time when everything costs more, Italian pasta used to be that little bright spot on a simple table. Now, with prices doubled and the familiar flavor gone, consumers feel more than just the financial pinch. They feel their trust slipping away. The trust in a chain once known for being cheap, reliable, and even if that trust was small, it mattered. From morning coffee to quick dinners, from favorite desserts to the pasta you've cooked for years, American consumers are facing a hard truth: prices soaring, quality slipping, and what used to be the good imports now reduced to nothing more than familiar names on the label.
This video does not promote division within the United States or encourage retaliation. All content is presented for the purpose of exploration, analysis, and fostering discussion based on current events, public sentiment, and social trends. We fully respect the United States Constitution and all federal regulations. If today's analysis made you think, drop a comment so we can keep the conversations going. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell so you will never miss our next independent deep dive.